When we look at Jesus, we're looking at someone that is of this line of Shem, that God would make the covenant with Abraham. This is the line of Shem, what we call the Davidic line. Now, it turned into the Davidic line once it reached David. When we look at David, we're looking at somebody that knows this story of Nimrod in and out. David would learn from the interactions of Esau with Nimrod not to touch God's anointed. David would know through what Esau did in overtaking Nimrod, even though he was next in line, that it is not for anyone to touch God's anointed. How expensive that price is. David would know firsthand how to go about building God a house by way of what Nimrod went through. Nimrod built in Shinar the Tower of Babylon, which was his house. He didn't build a house for God. Nimrod went and built himself a house in Shinar, in the valley. And this was the beginning of Nimrod sinning against God. Yet David comes and David says, I want to build a house for God. David is already sitting in his house. When the Bible says a house, he's not talking about like a house like our normal houses. He's talking about a kingdom. David's house was like a kingdom. The house of David is a kingdom. And David is sitting in that. And David is saying, I'm sitting in my kingdom. And I don't have any enemies anywhere because of God. And the Ark of the Covenant is sitting amongst tents. Ask God if I can build him a house. Everything with David was ask God. And this is what set David apart. And this is the root that would take hold. The root that would go deep and take hold, and that this vine would thrive from. But this vine was already in existence, y'all. This vine that Jesus comes forth from was already in existence. It took root deep within by way of what David did. It was already there, and in any vine being in existence, there is a root. There's got to be, or else there's no vine. We're talking about an ancestral line. When we speak to vine, we're speaking to ancestry. We're speaking to people that have come and then transitioned and have not come back again. So of this vine after the flood, we're looking at Noah. We're looking at Shem. We're looking at Abram. We're looking at Isaac. We're looking at Jacob, Esau. We're going all throughout this vine. This is a highly powerful vine of ancestry.